Welcome, everybody, to today's episode of The Lindsay Elmore Show. I am a firm believer that we cannot heal our bodies before we heal our minds, and that before we can heal our minds, we have to address the impact of spirituality on our everyday being. In today's show, I talk with Michele Sammons, who helps us to understand what is intuition? How does it play out in my everyday life? How can we experience miracles throughout the most mundane of days? And how we can land in our bodies enough to trust the intuitive messages that it is sending to us. Let's get to the show. Welcome to The Lindsay Elmore Show, a podcast for people who deserve to be healthy, with honest, open, and enlightening conversations with doctors, thought leaders, creatives, and spiritual gurus. You'll walk away with simple and tangible tips and tricks that allow you to live your healthiest life so you can pursue your dreams, overcome obstacles, and leave your mark. Michele Sammons is an inspirational author, spiritual teacher, and highly attuned guide who works with clients worldwide, helping them to transform their lives through divine guidance. As an empath and intuitive, Michele's lighthearted, joyful approach embraces her clients right where they are on their spiritual path and gently guides them to personal clarity and understanding. Michele is passionate about working with others to uplift each other and spread love and joy along the way. Michele Sammons, welcome to the Lindsay Elmore Show.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I am so thrilled to talk to you today because we've been talking to a lot of guests recently about the connection between mind, body, and spirit. And part of that journey is also that connection with universe, the connection with the ether that's kind of in between everything that is physical matter. And I find that when we are able to tap into, be it the spiritual energy, the mindfulness, affirmatory energy, or accept the unknown of the ether floating in between us, we tend to live much happier, much healthier lives. And that's what we're all about here on the show. Is we're a show for people who believe that they deserve to be healthy. And I think that meditation, intuition, spirituality is part of healing, and that it's available to everyone at all times. You don't have to have special skills to learn how to trust your instincts, follow your heart, all of the colloquialisms that we use to bring intuition down onto our human understanding level. Now, before we started recording, we were having an amazing conversation about why right now seems so stressful. And you started a sentence by saying, I like to give people comfort. And I would like to understand, with all of the emotions that we're processing and all of the fear of the unknown, the changes that we have faced, the ever evolving series of changes that we're, who's on first, what's on second. How can we put ourselves at ease and really gain greater control of that stress response in our life?
Yeah, so, yes. So yes. Let's start with that. We've been going through a lot of stuff, with a global pandemic. There's been lots of social unrest. There's been lots of stuff across the world, really. And a lot of people, especially in the spiritual community, are talking about that it's, the big shift, if you will, and what that means. And how we started, we were just talking about how I So yes, we are going through a shift of energy. But I like to give people comfort in the sense that this just happens to be our particular shift. So for the people who are living right now, here in this minute, this is our time where our paradigms are starting to break away and we can rethink and reimagine our future. But this has happened over throughout human history. It's called evolution, and this is what we do as a species. But it feels really big right now because number one, it's ours, it's the one we're going through. And then number two, it's because we're such a global community right now and we're so tied in with Zoom calls and the internet and all the wonderful technologies that we have at our fingertips. We know all the things that are going across the world. So when as a collective, we're going through a shift, not just individually. Think about when you individually go through a change, like a big momentum change of, when you graduate high school or college or get married or have a baby, anything that changes your perspective of who you are. And that's what this global pandemic has done to us. It's changed what we thought about ourselves. And then add that it's happening to all of us at once. It's happening to the entire globe at once. Just makes it feel even bigger and even have more energy around it because we're not dealing with it just as individuals. So
How
go ahead.
I was just going to say, how do I know I for sure feel spiritual connections to call it God, call it angels, call it spirit guides, call it ancestors, call it all of that. But it almost feels like there's some buzzing going on the universal level as well.
Yeah, so think about it. So each of us, number one, has a soul self that is, the eternal part of us that, existed before we popped into a human body and will exist when we're gone. And then on top of that, you have, we'll call them energetic friends, if you will. So I like to call it your vibe tribe. So, these are people who are either passed on loved ones or your guides or spirits who have the same interests and values that you do. And so anytime we are shifting through something and then we're asking for help and we're asking for assistance, either in words or prayer or even with our own energy, that attention is then given to us. And so if you have a whole globe saying, what am I doing and where am I going? What does all this mean? And then you have all that attention on us. So yes, we have lots of help from all of our energy friends, if you will. And so that's what a lot of people are picking up on now. And especially if you are sensitive to energies or if you're any kind of empath, you can feel all that going on. So not only are you feeling all the, the fear and stress and trauma that's going on from your fellow humans at points, but then you're also feeling all of this love and attention and guidance that we're getting. So we've got a lot going on right now, and it can be a little overwhelming if you're not used to kind of navigating those waters.